Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This course of organization, behavior, and leadership is a graduate course which is taught to the students of MBA and MS Management Sciences in the Karakoram International University, and also to the student of MS Educational Development. So this course, as a matter of fact, I taught to the students in this semester, and then I realized that while the importance of the course for the general management student, this course may also be placed at the personal YouTube channel. Now, the objectives of this course were to mainly introduce the students to the management and leadership practices which affect the attitude, motivation, behaviors, and performance of the employees, groups, and teams. There were 4 course learning outcomes for this course. And the first and the foremost was to make the student understand the context of organization behavior and then understand the individual processes in the organizations, which include perceptions, organization, socialization, motivation, and rewards. And then thirdly, that how the group and interpersonal processes in organization are working. And finally, the dynamics of the organizational changes in the 21st century and how the modern organization design is going to address these challenges. This was basically a plan we had for the 14 weeks of semester, and in each week we had 3 hours of teaching and assessment. A very important activity which I would like to share with the faculty and students, that we introduced the workshop activity at the end of semester so that the students can develop their research and report writing and presentation skills. And every student was given a topic in which he or she was advised to review the literature and write a report, and finally present their finding and presentation in the workshop. Now, the objective of this activity is mainly to develop creative thinking and creativity in the students, and also think analytically so that the various topics assigned to them can be reviewed by them. These are some of the principles which were shared. Now, the first question is that what is organization and what is behavior? And then once we combine these 2 words, then what is meant by organizational behavior? Is we all know that organization may be a set of systems in which 2 or more people are engaged to try to reach a common purpose. This is a consciously coordinated social unit which is made of a group of people who work together for a common goal on a relatively continuous basis. Now, organizations are social inventions for accomplishing common goals and group efforts through group efforts. So the basic fundamental buzzword is that the organization will come out of the social invention, that the groups will be coordinated in a way that the common goals of the organizations are achieved. Now, the social intervention is basically the field of OB, organization behavior, in which we are trying to understand the people and manage them effectively. By goal accomplishment, we mean that the organization would endeavor to achieve the goals to survive and adapt to the changes. And finally, the group efforts, which is concerned with how the people would be combined and grouped together to effectively practice the teamwork. Now, there can be a number of examples of the organization, for example, the provincial and federal governments, businesses, hospitals, colleges, retail stores, prisons, universities, and so on. When we work as a teacher in a university, which is an official organization, we teach at different levels, and we have different kinds of student courses to teach, and we have a different kind of culture in the class. Now, the organization behavior is mainly focusing on the attitudes of performance of people in organization. So it's a field of study that investigates the impact of individual groups and structures on behavior within organization, and to apply this knowledge towards improving the organizational effectiveness. So as a matter of fact, we are trying to see that how the various group dynamics and structures are helping to achieve the common goals of the organizations. Because the organizations are affected by both the internal and external organization. And we are trying through the organizational theory to design the structures of organization in a way that the challenges and the dynamics and changes of the internal and external environment are dealt with. Now, the organization behavior, or OB, is for everyone in the organization, irrespective of the fact whether he's a senior position or a junior. This is really very important for all the employees in an organization to understand the organization behavior, the values, and the structures of organization under which they work. Now, the question that why organization behavior is a school of study is important. There are many questions like how the people, some of the people do very well in the organizations and the other don't, and how the changes and challenges in the workplace is impacting and affecting the performance, and how do the typical organization look like, and why it's important to understand the other people, and the question like job satisfaction and the responsibility and accountability questions are some of the challenges which the organizations would certainly face. Now, the organizational behavior is a study, is a field of study in the human resource management, is both interesting and important because the people and human nature is really very important to understand the success and failures of the organizations. And it is important because the profound impact of organizational behavior on managers, employees, and consumers is really very important. And finally, when we think about the organizational behavior, we try to address the challenges, we would increase the competitiveness and effectiveness of the organizations. Now, this figure is showing that how the various disciplines are related to the organizational behavior. For example, when we think of the organization behavior, we think of political science, sociology of work, general psychology, social psychology, industrial psychology, and so on. And when we think of the organization theory, we think in terms of anthropology, sociology of organization, and sociology. So these two would then combine together to make a common ground for the organization behavior. This is a very interesting slide, which is showing that how the various disciplines are contributing to the development of organizational behavior theory. And the most common is on the top of everything is psychology, which is more concerned with the individual, is learning, motivation, personality, emotion, perceptions, training, and so on. And then the sociology, which is more concerned about the group dynamics and formal organization theory, which contributes to helping the group analysis and understanding the group dynamics in the organization behavior. Similarly, the social psychology, which helps in understanding the behavioral changes, the attitude changes, communications, group process, and group decisions making. And then we can think of anthropology, which is more related to the human attributes of values, attitudes, cross-cultural analysis, organizational culture, and environment. And finally, we have the political science, in which we study the conflict, politics, power, and so on. So if you look at this slide, we can understand that organization behavior is not only a science, but is an art which involves a broader streams and spectrums of sociology, psychology, anthropology, social psychology, and political science. And that's why in the organization behavior theory, we see a lot of theories coming from different schools of thoughts from these disciplines. Now, when we look at the research in the organization theory and organization behavior, it can be grouped into 5 major areas, for example, are major ways of doing the research in organization behavior. For example, the most common is the meta-analysis, and that is the literature review of the existing